We've been thinking how we could make spaghetti and meatballs even better.
So we've taken the student favourite of a pasta bake and combined the two. Pasta bakes are often seen as a student staple, and today we're going to make one with meatballs in it, okay? So we're going to make our own meatballs with the beef mince, rosemary, garlic and Worcestershire sauce, and then we're going to submerge that in our very own tomato sauce and bake the whole thing off with some pasta.
Sorry, what was that one a couple of
ingredients
ago?
Worcestershire sauce.
Worcestershire sauce.
What's wrong with that?
Okay, carry on.
Right, so first of all you two, some rosemary and garlic. So one of you peel and crush the garlic, and one of you strip off strip off the leaves, off of the stalk, and then chop those up nice and fine. And I'm going to take an onion over this side to dice up nice and fine. So with that onion nice and diced, we can put half of it into our pan with a shot of oil. That's for our tomato sauce. And the other half into our bowl, which is going to become part of our meatball. Barry, if you can bring over the garlic, put that into our bowl, along with our minced beef. So that can all go in there. You're the one that's going to get a bit mucky now. Some Dijon mustard and a splash of this.
What's that called?
Worcestershire sauce.
Worcestershire sauce. What is the problem with Worcestershire sauce?
I struggle to say it. Our final flavour into that is all of your rosemary, Jamie. Give that a good mix up. So then if you can take our meat and form kind of golf ball sizes, and that's your next job, is to make sure we roll all of these out so they're all roughly the same size, like that. Okay?
Perfect.
In the meantime, we can start to heat a pan up for our meatballs, and Jamie, we can put our pasta into the water. Now we've gone for fusilli pasta here. You can use whatever you have in the cupboard, okay? So bow ties, penne, just about whatever. It's a pasta bake, make it your own. You could use orzo. There we go, so that's going to go into our salted boiling water and into our onion and garlic to form part of our tomato sauce, the red wine. So a glass of that, splash it in.
Lovely.
And now all of those tomatoes, we'll let it bubble away so the alcohol will cook off.
Smells very rich.
It is indeed. We're going to enrich it even more though with some tomato puree, so a tablespoon of that, so it's really tomatoey. And a little bit of sugar, okay, just a pinch of sugar, which is really good in tomato sauce. And then to make it quite a wet mix, because we're going to want plenty of sauce to coat all that pasta and meatballs, half a stock cube. And a little splash of water.
I suppose we're quite lucky because there's 3 of us in the kitchen at the moment. You might only be cooking with 1 person, so could you do that and leave that for half an hour whilst you're doing this? You know, could you?
Yeah, you can do it in different stages. In fact, the meatballs will firm up if you put them into the fridge for half an hour and then fry them, so that'll actually possibly even make it easier. We're going for speed here, and because we're all here, we can start to fry them off immediately, but absolutely, you can always spread those jobs out.
Top tip.
So we'll put all of our meatballs in there, and now smell that. The garlic, the rosemary, you get all of those wafts.
Good.
We're not going to cook these all the way through. We just want to colour the outside and seal all the meat in. Jamie, if you can be responsible for just keeping those turning every so often. And the last thing, while we continue to turn those balls, is we can grate some cheese. So we've got 2 types of cheese, some Parmesan and some cheddar, and a little grating box. If you can just grate some of that, that'll go on our pasta bake just before it goes in the oven. Awesome, plenty of cheese, and we can pretty much bring everything together now. So if you drain our pasta, and we're going to put our meatballs into that tomato sauce. So they're not quite cooked all the way through, but a nice golden colour, and some of them even slightly charred on the outside. That's what we want. Our pasta into the biggest pan you've got, and then all of that sauce and meatballs can jump in there.
That is a lot of food.
It's a lot of food, a lot of sauce. It's quite a wet bake. Make sure all of that pasta, meatballs are combined. You want to break up the meatballs, so don't do it too much. And then everything into your oven-proof dish. Pile it high. Like
God,
that.
wow. Look at that.
Get a few of those meatballs so they're poking out. And then Barry, you grated the cheese, so you should sprinkle too. Generous amount of cheese on top.
Always.
We've got an oven at about 180 to 200 degrees Celsius, and that needs to go in there for about 15 minutes to go nice and crispy, bubbling and golden. So that's all yours, Baz. And then we can tuck into our meatball pasta bake. There we go, look at that. Crispy around the outside, plenty to feed a crowd.
Wait. He always has to spoil it, doesn't he?
Garnish it with a bit of basil, but other than that, it's our meatball pasta bake sorted. Get stuck into some of that.
Chunky portion.
Make sure you got some of those meatballs.
Meatball. A lot of cheese.
Oh.
And taste all that rosemary and mustard. Carb heavy, proper energy food.
Yeah. Good balls, Baz.
Okay.